to DevOps Shorts, the show to listen to when your DevOps hurts. And even when you're going strong, it's short and sweet, so come along. Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of DevOps Shorts, or should I say Plaftorm Shorts. This show where we invite wonderful human beings to have a lightning fast conversation about devs, ops, and other mythical creatures. The show where each episode is only 15 minutes long and we only ask 3 questions, so it's short and sweet. Why? Because if there's one thing we know is that great delivery comes in small batches. And today I'm very happy to have Abby Bangser with me. Abby is the platforms working group lead at CNCF. That's a long title. And also a principal engineer at Syntasso. And you're also a team topologist advocate. How are you, Abby?
Yes, I give you quite the mouthful for the intro. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So without further ado, let's jump straight into our 3 questions. And the first question is all about platforms. So I have this naive assumption that whoever comes to the show loves what they do. And here's a question to you. Why do you love it? Why do you love building platforms? What's the story behind that? Go.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think with all the things you had to intro, of course, I love it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be involved in the community things that I am. And I think what I often say is that this has been my journey for the last over 10 years I've been in tech, with it actually making no sense when all you do is look at my job titles. So first job title was QA. This was within the consulting bit. Then I was sort of doing consulting for DevOps. And then I was a QA on a platform engineering team and a platform engineer, and then an SRE, and now a principal engineer. And you sort of look at these titles and you go, that's an interesting journey. I don't see that a lot. But actually, it all makes a lot of sense when you think about it, as my first ever job in technology was about supporting teams moving faster, safer, better. Because as a QA, I learned from amazing humans at ThoughtWorks about how quality is built into the process, is built into the conversations early, and you can, create processes around it to encourage high quality delivery. So I did that on small teams, then on larger teams, then on entire systems. And now I'm looking at how to codify that into more kind of consistent processes under a platform kind of idea. So I think that's my origin story into platforms. And I'm particularly excited about where I am today because I'm building a platform for platform engineers. I'm building a framework really to help people who had my previous job titles be successful with building their internal platforms. And it's giving me the chance to be product facing, end user facing with a product around platform engineering in the business domain I love so much. So it's extra exciting in what I'm working on today.
Yeah, so it's basically building tools for folks who you understand.
Who I want to help. I try hard not to think I understand them, because that's the first rule of product is you are not the user, right? So it's more that I have a passion around the same things they have a passion around. So how can I help them?
That's a good pointer. So you were at ThoughtWorks.
I was, yes, for 7 years, 6.5. So.
And it's important to mention that ThoughtWorks basically is the company who gave us continuous delivery.
One of the ones that definitely popularized it. It was a big part of my growth there, going through all of that, helping organizations transition there. So yeah.
Yeah, so just humble, and they wrote the book while working at ThoughtWorks.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely a lot of inspiration coming from that consulting agency. Okay, and we're done with this question, and we have more time for other questions. And the next one is about DevOps, right? So the show was originally called DevOps. It's still called DevOps Shorts, but we're now increasingly talking more and more about platforms, and that's one of the reasons you're here, because you are the lead for the platforms working group at CNCF. And there is a lot of confusion right now between is platforms the new DevOps. There's all this buzz about DevOps being dead and platform engineering coming to replace it. So I'd love to hear your take on that. Maybe you're angry about this. Maybe you have other opinions.
Yeah, I definitely have opinions. I think it's a really interesting challenge because when I look at people talking about this, I just keep thinking that they're comparing apples and oranges. And I'm just get confused as to why I have to say that one thing is dead for something else to be successful in this case, right? That sometimes
Apples
isn't the
are
case,
dead.
um, but why does DevOps need to be dead for platform engineering to be effective and useful? Like that's like saying you want your apples so you can't have your oranges. I don't understand. So the reason I say that is because my experience with DevOps and successful DevOps is around the culture. And yes, I am not living under a rock somewhere. I understand that half of the job titles in the world right now are DevOps engineer. And I understand that the teams are called DevOps and that the technologies people are using are DevOps technologies called DevOps technologies and things like that. So I understand that the word has long ago been co-opted away from the culture. However, the tools and the teams and the activities those teams are doing aren't dead. We still need to do the delivery of software code to production. We still need to use CI/CD pipelines, which are often associated with DevOps teams. We still need to do infrastructure as code, which is sometimes associated with DevOps teams. Like these are still activities and tools we need. And the culture, if we really go back to the roots of caring about the building, delivering, and operating of software within the confines of a single team or single unit is still a culture that is effective and useful. So yeah, I'm very firmly in the camp of that these do not need to be in competition with each other, and actually the best platforms, because platforms are a product, are built with DevOps culture in mind. They're built with iterative loops. They're built with a mindset towards both delivering new features for day zero, day one, and also maintaining those features and maintaining those capabilities for many years. So day two operations as well. So my experience across these is that where I think many people think about with DevOps is small teams that are cross-functional. And so you need a database expert, a security expert, a CI/CD expert, a front end and back end software engineers, and so on. And what I think when people are saying DevOps is dead, what I think they are speaking to is the idea that those multidisciplinary teams are hard to scale. And so when you look at organizations with hundreds of engineers, let alone hundreds of teams, and in many cases, or some cases, thousands of teams, the idea of having a database expert per team or even per group of teams starts to become untenable. And that's where they say DevOps is dead. But that's because we're asking those teams to do too much. We're asking them to go too full stack. We're asking them to go too deep into the stack. And what platforms are doing is they're cutting off the depth of that stack. They're providing services that can encapsulate the specialties of some of those support kind of aspects. So database security being two very common examples, CI/CD being another common example, and providing those as managed services rather than needing someone per team who can have the ability to build that and maintain it and make it perfect. So in many ways, platform engineering is scaling the implementation that we have seen of DevOps in the past by reducing the workload on the team so they can truly build, deliver, and operate their software as a single unit.
Basically, what I'm hearing is platform engineering is DevOps, the way to do DevOps at scale.
I think that's fair.
Okay, very good.
I'm saving myself the
Took the
random
timer on this
questions.
one. Wonderful. And straight into the next one, which is about the future. It's my favorite one. I like to call myself a software delivery futurist. So this is a question to you about your vision. What does the future hold for DevOps platforms? Is, I don't know, maybe platforms the future iteration of DevOps, or maybe you're looking further into the future and you're seeing that in the end nobody would need either DevOps or platforms, and I don't know. We're all become robots.
be taken over by them, won't we? The future is always so hard. But I think, to your point, do we need DevOps and or platforms in the future? Where will we be? I think that what we're seeing is there's a wider and wider net of people who both need to be able to consume and create tech. Right, we're seeing that with the introduction of you can argue we saw that with the introduction of things like Squarespace to build websites. But even before that, MySpace was starting. You could see this evolution of trying to give people the ability to build things themselves. That has grown only further with things like build AI generated websites and things like that. And there's lots of software engineers that are up in arms over the idea of maintainable software written by AI, and I can appreciate the concern for our jobs, and B, the genuine concern for the future of maintainable software. But I think what we need to do is realize that the ask is to lower the barrier of entry to using technology. And this is the current implementation, and we have an opportunity to improve that if we can, and to work with that. So, but the thing is with that desire to have wider access to both use and creation of tech, we continue to also need a deeper focus on things like environmental impact and security, because those are getting only more impactful to us as humanity. Just the world around us for environmental impact. If you look at the trends of, water and storms and things like that around the world, and icebergs in the poles. And then when it comes to security, our entire lives are now on computers. So we saw that impact in the wars of, like, if you can't get access to your data, that is a big impact on a country's ability to sustain itself. And as an individual, I've seen like something as simple as a house sale fall through because the council had been hacked, and so they couldn't do the paperwork associated with it. So this matters more. So we need better better and deeper implementations of some things while also widening access. That's like IT in general. I think platforms have a role to play in this because, again, that idea I talked about in the last question of platforms reducing the surface area that a builder has to think about while not reducing the focus on those cross-functional key aspects like security and environmental impact and performance and all these things, is what a platform can provide. So future of platforms is seeing the behavior of the cloud computing, everything behind an API, easy access, become more specialized and accessible and tuned in to what an organization or a product needs. So building on top of those clouds to your requirements so that you can continue to build your specialty value, but using that kind of experience. And we've tried the one size fits all platforms. Cloud Foundry has this amazing CF push. Heroku continues to be talked about as the golden child of the kind of early days of platforms as a service. But what we're realizing is that the reason there are so many businesses in the world is because they are special for a reason. And unfortunately, if everyone's using the same product, that reduces that access to the things that make them special, their processes, their culture, their developer experiences. And I think platforms need to be able to build those in a bit better. And that's what's going to allow that future of IT to be more widely available to people, and while still being safe and hopefully stop burning the world down and things like that.
So the platform becomes a competitive advantage, and we're done. And we have one more minute for Blitz questions. So question I love is, what's the most exciting technology outside of IT?
Most exciting technology outside of IT. Isn't all of technology somewhat IT? So I think that the future around self-driving is a really interesting one to be following. I think it has a huge impact on humanity. But the thing that I'm even more excited about in the kind of transport arena is the electric vehicle. I've been doing a bit. I'm an electric vehicle owner myself. That's the way I go. But actually, I've been reading and learning a lot about the impact of two-wheel electrics. So often when you live in a country like America or the UK, you sort of have a vision around cars being the main mode of transport, but the impact of electric vehicles when it comes to motorbikes in continents with much better sunlight than I get here in London is massive to the requirement for petrol. And so, the ability to do solar charging on continents like Africa and India, and countries like India, and
even here
support,
in Israel.
and here, yeah, in the Middle East as well. So, I think that's the thing I'm most excited about is what's going to happen with that electric spread out of vehicles.
Gotcha. Okay, and we're done.
Fantastic.
Wonderful, Abby. Loved having you as usual, and I hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely.
At KubeCon, basically.
Yes, I'll see you in Paris. Thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you for listening, and watch out for new episodes of DevOps Shorts.